Sorry guys, but I'm going to talk in English. It's too late. Yes. I've been translating professionally for 10 years, but I have to do it into the microphone? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. So I've been translating professionally for 10 years, but I actually started when I was 8. So 12 years ago, yes. And as I like to say, my homework was to translate the editorial of the London Times into Latin, something that today would be considered child abuse. Okay, so why are we revisiting recognition? And we're revisiting recognition because our profession has a serious problem. What are the problems? Well, first of all, as you know, the written translation is completely misunderstood as a profession. And anybody who's mildly bilingual is a potential wannabe translator. And unfortunately, we have lots of wannabes who are actually out there working and working cheap. And then another big problem is that we have a lot of employers who don't know the difference between something that's well translated or not. And they certainly don't want to admit that they don't know the difference. And even if they do know the difference, very often there are number crunchers who say the most important thing for you is to take the cheapest translator because we only care about the pennies going out and not the quality coming in. I'm very lucky that in my field, which is education, I have people who fight for me. I mean, I know some of my clients are under pressure to take people cheaper, and they say, no, in the long run, it's cheaper for us to take Micaela because she understands what it is we're trying to say. Now, if you have any doubts about whether we actually have this problem, just think of the article that appeared, it wasn't in Maariv, it was in Haaretz, sorry. The article that came out at the time of the conference, which was all about this problem. Or if you've been following the discussion on the list, there was a huge discussion that went on forever and ever and ever called 38 shekels a page. You know, this is an issue about our problem of professionalism that bothers us all. So if there's a problem, of course, we have to find a solution. And there are two possible solutions. Well, the solution is to differentiate ourselves from the amateurs. And we can do this in one of two ways. One is through the government, and the other one is on our own. Now, going through the government, asking for government regulation is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. Did I say terrible enough times? Okay? They are absolutely clueless about the profession, and they are guaranteed to cause serious damage. Okay? So I pray that no VAD ever goes in that direction. So that leaves us with doing this on our own. And in fact, we do already have a solution, as you know. It's a two-phased process. Currently available recognition. Recognition is a document and reference recommendation-based certificate. And in the future, hopefully, certification which will be test-based or portfolio-based. And this is the only sane way to go. Anything I've forgotten so far? What are the recognition requirements for those who you don't know? Well, you have to be a member of the ITA for at least 1 year. It's a good idea to show proof of your higher education because that counts, even if it's not in the field of translation. Your higher education means something. It means you actually have advanced knowledge of something that you might want to be translating about. 2 signed written recommendations. There's an actual form there that you can use. You just have to ask somebody to fill in the details and sign it. And 3 other reference contacts, where you just have to give a name and phone number and address of people that you've worked for. And you are asked to sign the ITA Code of Ethics, which is also on the application form, and pay a very modest sum of only 250 shekels. I can't even get it right and I'm talking in English. Can you imagine what nonsense I'd be talking if I was in Hebrew? So now I think the process will be a lot more streamlined than it has been because we're going to be doing it in-house from now. Now that we have an administrative assistant, she can assist. So what do you get for your 250 shekels? Okay. Well, you get a language-specific certificate of recognition. Mine, for example, says that I seem to be paid on a quite regular basis for translating from Hebrew into English. If you work in several languages, you can add, I believe, up to 5. But you have to provide references for... you have to pay more after 3, I think, because it's just a lot more references to go through, because you have to provide references for them. And the other thing that you get is a little logo that you can add to your signature or your letterhead or whatever, and you can choose to get it in Hebrew, English, or Arabic accordingly. If you're trying to impress your Hebrew-speaking clients, it's a good idea to use the Hebrew one so that they know what it says. Okay, the eternal question. What's in it for me? Well, I would have thought it was fairly obvious. But I'm going to mention 3 things, okay? First of all, it allows you to point out to your ignorant clients that this is actually a profession and that you are a professional in the field. You know, if they don't know there's such a thing as a recognized translator, then we'll tell them. If you like doing official documents that need to be recognized abroad, you're more likely to have it accepted if you say, well, we don't have certification yet in Israel, but I am a recognized translator, and here's my little Tuda that says so. And the all-important issue is point number 3, that it helps negotiate better fees. This ties in with what Yael was saying earlier. A phrase that I've used on more than one occasion is, well, of course you can get it cheaper if you want to risk it being done by a non-professional or somebody less experienced. It is just so helpful. You know, of course, you know, you can get it for next to nothing, but then you'll also get next to nothing. So that's something to think of. But I don't only want us to think about what's in it for me. I think it's important for us to ask ourselves what's in it for the ITA. So if we have a lot of recognition going on, then this enhances our status, the ITA status, as the body giving the certificate. I think it encourages membership. People will, the more recognized translators there are, the more other people are going to say, hey, maybe I ought to do something about becoming a recognized translator. And the stronger we are, the more we can offer. And I'd like you to look at point number 3. I think it enables the ITA to lobby on your behalf with commercial bodies such as LAHAV members and others. And I'm prepared to work on this with the ITA together with the VAD. And when I stepped down from being chairperson, I said that this is what I was going to contribute. And I really believe that we should be doing this, but I can't do it if we don't have more massive numbers with recognition. This is the way I see it. I think it's a win-win cycle. We do actually have, what they call a Tochnit Megera. We do have a PR plan how to build up our own status in the business community and in the community in general. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to spend a minute on it with the current number of recognized members. So, because it's like shooting ourselves in the foot, basically, and that's not my plan. So even you veterans, who have plenty of work, and you know that you don't need this recognition, and there are many of you out there, you're working, you're quite happy, you don't need this. But I would ask that even the veterans would see it as a 250 shekel donation to strengthening the body that's trying to support your profession for the future, to safeguard the future of the profession and of the ITA as our representative body. And if anybody has any questions, I don't know whether I have any time left. No, okay. However, one thing I will say is that I did ask the organisers to let me speak on this topic before the meal, so the break or whatever it is, so that if anybody has questions, I'm around to answer them.